I meant to shoot this video in the summer, but life got in the way and I was going through some stuff. So yeah, this video is a bit delayed, but I still wanted to make sure I filmed this because I had a whole script written out, so here we are. I've done a few Duck Decks unboxings and vlogs on this channel, but I've never actually done a full review. I think I've done like a mini review somewhere, again in a vlog, but nothing was ever in just one package. So yeah, that's also why I wanted to make this video. My friend Maria actually made a video on her Instagram discussing Ducky Tape, so you definitely should check that out before you watch this one. A lot of what I have to say kind of goes hand in hand with what she said in the video. I'm gonna try not to repeat anything she said in her video, but I also don't want to miss anything out, so forgive me if there's a bit of overlap, but yeah, I definitely recommend checking her video out. Link will be in the description. So we're gonna start with some specs, and I think a lot of what I have to say in this section is very obvious, so feel free to skip over this section. But if you've been on this channel before, you know that with reviews, I always start with the most basic of information, just so we know what we're working with here. So Ducky Tape comes in two different thicknesses. There's 0.5mm, and recently they introduced 0.2mm. They come in a pack of 3, and each sheet is 38mm by 108mm. Full disclosure, I've only ever tried the 0.5mm. Savannah is sending me some 0.2 in the mail right now, so in the future, I might make a video just comparing the two, but I don't think the differences will be too big. It's just more user experience since it's just a different thickness, but the tape is the same. There are 3 types of Ducky Tape if you don't already know. There's regular, frosted, and Ducky Tape Type C. Ducky Tape Type C is basically regular Ducky Tape, but with different colors. If you've clicked on this video, I'm assuming you already know that all 3 of these tapes are transparent. And I think for a lot of us, that means that we can get more creative with our grip jobs. I spent quite a bit of time designing the sticker job that goes underneath my Ducky Tape because I need it to be perfect. I generally find setting up a new board very therapeutic as a whole, and being able to just do one extra step before gripping the deck is, I don't know, it's just very relaxing for some reason. So the main difference between frosted and regular is, aside from the opaqueness, is the grippiness. Frosted is slightly less grippy, and I recommend you try both out just to see what you prefer. It's kind of difficult for me to tell you which is better because I don't think there's one better than the other. I think it's just dependent on what you would prefer. So yeah, just try both out. So when I first tried Ducky Tape, the only stuff that was available was the regular, and I, like anybody else, I think was really surprised at how grippy it was. When you see the tape online, and actually even when you see it in real life, you expect it to be very slippery until you actually use it, and that's when you realize just how grippy it is. I definitely think it's more grippy than foam tape, which can be both a good and a bad thing, and I'll get into that a little bit later. The catch on a flip trick is almost always guaranteed because the deck basically feels like it's sticking to your fingers. So when you're doing a trick mid-air, it always feels like you pop and the tape just makes the board stick to your fingers and you land with a catch rather than flip down, if that makes sense. The other thing I noticed was that Ducky Tape makes boards look wider. So for example, with this 33mm Beast Pants, because I'm using Ducky Tape, it kind of looks like it's a 34. And in addition to that, Ducky Tape also adds a bit of weight, whether you're using frosted or regular. So frosted is less grippy than regular, but when you're coming from foam tape, you're definitely gonna feel the extra grip regardless of which one you try. Don't get me wrong when I say that it's grippier than foam tape. I'm not saying that foam tape isn't good or that it's not grippy. If anything, it was a huge adjustment when I used Ducky Tape for the first time, and even every time I use Ducky Tape, I need to warm up all over again. Like I said, the extra grip can be both a good and a bad thing. When you first learn how to use it, it almost feels impossible because, like I said, the board just kind of sticks to your fingers. But if you're using frosted Ducky Tape, I definitely think it's a better or easier adjustment. There is definitely a relearning curve for sure when it comes to doing tricks, so you have to learn how to do your tricks all over again, and that can take quite a bit of time. I will say though, I think that if you commit to relearning everything on Ducky Tape, it's difficult to go back to foam tape just because the way you do tricks is just so different between the two. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well, but if you get Ducky Tape, you'll know what I mean. I think unless you're always using foam tape and Ducky Tape on two setups, it's difficult to get used to both at the same time. I've definitely also seen people use both Ducky Tape and foam tape together on one setup. When I've tried it, I think it did make the adjustment a little easier, but overall, I prefer doing like a full sheet of foam tape or a full sheet of Ducky Tape. The other big thing to note with Ducky Tape is that the application process is totally different, or it feels different. I was lucky enough that the first time I tried it, Savannah actually sent me quite a few packs because the first like 2 times I tried gripping it, it went horribly wrong. Savannah actually made a tutorial on how to cut Ducky Tape and how to apply it. But personally, when I've used that method of cutting, it just doesn't work out the way I want it to. So in her video, she recommends using the method that you use when you're cutting like grip on a skateboard. So using a razor blade and literally cutting it. Instead, like with foam tape, we use like a knife or scissors and we scrape it off. I personally actually found that using that same method that you use with foam tape with Ducky Tape is kind of better than using a razor blade and cutting it. So yeah, I scrape it off with scissors, but the part that makes it different than foam tape is, one, you have to make sure that the scissors are the right type of scissors. It needs to be the ones that, like, on the outside, the blade is also sharp, and you do have to be a lot more delicate with it than with foam tape because it's a lot easier to get jagged edges than it is with foam tape. I could make a tutorial on it, maybe I'll include it in a vlog or something, so yeah. There will be a vlog someday where I show you how I do my Ducky Tape. At this point, I've tried Ducky Tape on different shapes and different like concaves of boards. I found that the best situation for me to use Ducky Tape is with mellow boards and in a situation where I'm trying to add a bit more weight to a deck. So for example, with this Beast Pants, which I've had for ages, it's one of the thinnest boards I own, and it's much thinner than my Fizzy deck, but because I want to have both set up, I have Ducky Tape on here because it makes it slightly heavier. When I'm using a medium or medium high shaped board with foam tape, I find it already sort of more difficult to control, but it's a lot easier for me to adjust because I'm used to using foam tape. But then when I'm using Ducky Tape on those types of setups, it's a whole other thing to have to adjust to. And so yeah, it's just not for me when I'm using medium or testing out medium high decks. I think that generally makes sense because I prefer boards with mellow shape. So yeah, just use a tape on a deck that you know you can use just even with foam tape, if that makes sense. It should be a shape that you're kind of already used to. In my last video, you will have seen that on my Doom Lagoon like Cataclysm deck, I added a bit of Ducky Tape on the top, and that was a regular Ducky Tape and I couldn't deal with it. So I ended up re-gripping that board entirely and it was just foam tape. The Doom Lagoon shape is medium high-ish, I would say. So yeah, I couldn't use it with that. But I haven't tried it with frosted tape and I also haven't tried it with a 0.2 millimeter. And I think the thinner version might also help me adjust a bit more as well. So I know some people who have fully committed to Ducky Tape and all of their setups have Ducky Tape and they stopped using foam. If that's you, good for you, but for me, I like to use it for filling in grip gaps or, like I said, to add a bit more weight to a deck. Do I think you should get it? Yes, 100%. I think it's worth trying, to be honest, even if you don't end up liking it. It's just a really fun tape to use and experience. And yeah, I also think it's cool that you guys could do fun sticker jobs underneath. I also feel like a lot of us have been looking for a grip all these years that's see-through, but isn't like skate grip, because I don't know, for me, skate grip was never actually grippy. I could never fingerboard with that stuff, whereas with Ducky Tape, it actually is rideable for me. I also think it's pretty unique that you get to choose between grippiness, so regular or frosted. With any company, it's very rare, or at least from what I know, like I've never seen that with foam tape. It's definitely not the easiest to apply, and it takes a bit of concentration and patience though, so if you can, I recommend getting 2 packs, especially if you're overseas and the only access you have to Ducky Tape is the DuckDeck store. Just save on shipping and get the 2 packs right away. But all in all, I do think Ducky Tape is very cool. I also think DuckDecks as a whole is a very unique company. They're not the first company to do like plastic boards, like Gripskin does it. A lot of other companies have done it as well, but I think their graphics and their marketing and the videos that they make to go alongside their products are very cool. Both Savannah and Ben work really hard to make that happen, so yeah, that was another reason why I wanted to make this video. I just think they're a very cool company. All of this aside, I'm excited to be making videos again. Now that I'm back in Hong Kong, I will hopefully have a more consistent upload schedule. I have some new things planned that I'm pretty excited about, so yeah, stay tuned for all of that. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. If you've used Ducky Tape before or are currently using Ducky Tape, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments as well. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone for sticking around. I really appreciate your patience with me. This is actually also the first video I'm making ever since I hit 6K subscribers, so thank you so much for that. It means a ton, especially during my hiatus. The number kept going up and I was really surprised. So yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, other than that, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next video.